Hello, everybody. Welcome to another video from the Power Bomb Project. I am one of your hosts,
Do you
Daniel.
think John
joined
Wick
by-
has a fat cock?
You know what? This is the perfect opening. Let's not even change anything about this opening. All right. Yeah, so that's my friend, Trevor. Say what's up to the people.
Oh,
All right, and then that's Trevor. Say what's up to the people, Berman.
Hey, man.
And then there's also Chris.
let's see. He's asking the real question, man. It's the guy from
Yeah.
Fortnite. Don't we got it?
Oh, yeah, John Wick's the guy from Fortnite, right? So we're doing a ranked video on the guy from Fortnite. That guy has 4 movies, surprisingly. I just found this out today that the guy from Fortnite has 4 movies. So we all watched all 4 movies in one day and decided, you know what?
I didn't watch all 4 in one day. What the fuck?
Yeah, why are you lying to the audience members, dude? To 10 of them.
To the 10 audience members. Now, way to bury our podcast, Chris. Jesus.
It was already
Now-
buried.
Oh,
Now, anyways,
listen, man. We got 10K views of the Avatar movie, man.
I don't even know how he got that still. But, anyways.
I got like 1,000 views on my TikTok. Fuck you.
Today, we're ranking the 4 John Wick films from worst to best. This is combining all 4 of our personal scores. So we all do technically have different opinions on where we would personally rank these films, but this is a combined score. Keep that in mind, folks. And all 4 of these films are good films. That is a fact. None of these films are bad, and this is all just a matter of opinion. If you guys disagree with the combined score or have an opinion of your own, put that in the comment section below. Leave a like. It'll help us out in this algorithm. And yeah, that's really all I could say. So without further ado, let's top in to number 4. So at number 4, we got John Wick 2. So I think this is a good film. It's not necessarily a bad one. But when we overall think about it, it probably has the weakest sort of, how do I explain it? It feels more like a continuation, and it does a lot of world building. But if you're looking for like an intriguing story, you're not really going to get that here.
You're also not going to be watching John Wick, to be fair.
Yeah.
Oh.
Like, I will say this, though. It is a good action film. That's like the best way to describe John Wick 2. I'm not going to say too much more than that, but the overall combined score was a 32 out of 40, which is an 8 out of 10. I gave it the lowest score out of the 4 of us, being a 7, because again, I just saw it as like a good action movie more than like anything of big substance. But again, if you sat down, watched this movie, you're not going to have a bad time. You're not going to have a bad time at all.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. I'd probably say the highest because I put it a 9, but because I think to me it was so fun because of how, I think my favorite part was when he went to the Continental in Europe, I think was it, and he pretty much just went shopping, and all the lingo was very funny, like asking for like guns, asking for like suits was very fun to watch, and I think to me that was so funny, and all the people he was killing in them when the bad guy gave bounty, he got what's it called? He got a sumo wrestler to fighting against a sumo wrestler, fighting against a violent person, and there was so many others. To me, it was just so funny, just because they're all around everywhere. So to me, I think I gave it a pretty high one, and it was a 9, just because it's very fun to see kind of that this play that everywhere there's an assassin, and it was just so fun to watch to me. So
Trevor, what do you think about John Wick 2?
let's see, Chris, what do you want?
Oh, well, I guess. Well, for instance, there's no way in hell his new dog, would have survived that explosion from his house being completely destroyed because he just
What are you
refused.
talking about? That dog was a unit.
Go outside.
Well, there's no way, dude. You tell me a missile that destroyed his entire home because he refused
actually a
to
grenade
do his
launcher.
job. Whatever
Yeah, it was a grenade launcher.
Missile, grenade launcher, same shit. Point
No,
being, that
no,
dog
there's-
should have died. There's
Why do you
no
want
way.
dogs to die?
Because we need John Wick. That's what fucking gives him his ultra instinct, man.
I'll take Chris.
It's not. And all John Wick had to do was just do the favor in exchange because his ambassador's like, hey man, I'll let you go in the other movie, just kill my sister. It's fine. Just do it. And he's like, nah man, I want to do it. And it's like, well, I'm gonna kill your dog again. And this just how it be, man.
Weren't you complaining about 3 and 4 being the same movie? So you wanted to be at the same movie again?
Yeah, but this movie came out before 3 and 4. Tribal.
It just would
I
have
don't
been the
know
same
your
movie as
reason.
1.
What?
I don't know what's your reasoning, Chris.
What do you mean, man?
Well, you're like saying so much crap that saying that all like 3 and 4 are the exact same. Then
Because it
you
is.
want 2, and then you want 2 to be the exact same too. So it's like, all right, so you don't hate it. That's the exact same thing.
Right, yeah. It is kind of hypocritical to say 3 and 4 are the same, yet when you look at 1 and 2, I feel like those are far more similar
Well,
than 3 and 4
well, number 2 is a little different because they set up the whole embassy thing, which is really cool. That wasn't brought up in the first film.
The table, you mean?
Or the table, whatever.
Again, that's why I kind of call it the world building film more than like anything of like big substance.
He's just mad that Batwoman gave John Wick a run for his money.
It's not fair.
Well, any final thoughts you guys have to give about John Wick 2 before we move on to the number 3 spot?
Yeah.
I love cocaine.
All right then.
All right.
But you're not a bear.
I mean, actually, you know what? The mirror scene was probably the best scene in the movie, but other than that, yeah.
You know what? Good point, though. You're not. You can't be on cocaine if you're not a bear. Now let's move on to number 3. Number 3, John Wick 3, and yeah, the combined score for this one is a 33.5 out of 40. So I think this film is definitely an improvement on the second one, and I think the action really hits another level on John Wick 3. There are multiple scenes from this film that you could just point to, and the action is just spectacular. And that's
Like
the thing
when?
I'll say. Like 1 and 2 definitely set up the visuals and the action to be spectacular, and then 3 and 4 just goes more in depth on those sort of elements, and that's pretty cool for number 3 as well. And you, what is it? I feel like I'd be going on repeat if I talked a lot about this film. But yeah, I just feel like it kind of improves on the second in almost every area. But again, it kind of, just like the second film, I can't help but feel like there's something missing from this film that's leading me to not gravitate to it as much as I want to. And I don't know what that something is.
More Halle Berry.
Yeah.
That I mean, that could be a part of it. That could be a part of it. So, yeah. I guess I'll leave it to these 3, though. I think it is a very good film, but I just don't like it as much as the top 2. So yeah, I'll just leave all of them to talk about it for right now. My rating for this individually, outside of the 33.5, I was 7.5 out of 10, which is also the lowest score, ironically, of the bunch here. Again, I thought it was really good, but it didn't really amaze me or really left a long-term impression on me.
Yeah, this to me, I think I gave it a medium score. That I got 8.5. To me, I think this was a very fun. There's so many moments in this show that made me really cringe. Completely. I think the thing was the horse, the scene with the horses where they're in the horse pen. No, but when the horse kicked the guy to the face, I felt that to me. It's not like I cringed like I don't like it. It was a cringe where I felt what that guy felt. Like it felt so brutal when he got kicked in the face by a horse. And I think the horse scene was great too. Just like riding around a horse on a bridge against motorcycles. That was a great scene. I think it was so interesting to see this whole dynamic. And I think the great part too was the continental fight. It was really funny when they went back and forth from the safe room to fight, safe room, fight, just getting more weapons. and I think it was just so freaking funny. Winston just sitting down, drinking, and just saying you're back, or it just made me laugh, and it was very great. I think this movie was super fun to watch. It was definitely a great improvement for John Wick 2 to John Wick 3. I think it was so much fun to watch. And I think Halle Berry was a great thing with the two dogs. It was very great to see the two dogs fight. I think it was a great movie to watch myself. So I gave it the 8.5. So first,
And
They also gave my boy a good fight scene.
that too. I think out of all the John Wicks though, like the third one is definitely the best for the action pack and just I personally think it's like the most fun because essentially it's just every single assassin. I know you could argue that it's like the same like the other John Wick movies, but this is literally just the main plot. It was just every single motherfucker just trying to kill John Wick. Like you're not gonna get much of a story here to be quite honest, but for like a good action film, it's amazing. And plus whoever that giant Indian dude is, that dude was fucking sick. And plus, you also have the amazing fight choreographically of the tower. If I don't know the character's name, but it was pretty funny seeing how John Wick beat him. And he was like, "Was that a good fight?" And he's like, "Yeah, that was
Indian
pretty cool."
guy,
Yeah.
the Great Ali.
What?
God damn it, Danny! I wasn't even gonna say that. I was thinking about it, and then you just had to say it.
I'm kind of
What
racist,
Indian-
folks. Just ignore me.
No, you can't say
what big Indian guy?
the one from the beginning that was like beating the shit out of John Wick and like just slapping him around in like the first 5 minutes of the movie.
That guy. Is he not the? He's a basketball player.
Is he?
Yes,
Oh, I don't watch sports.
if I'm
Man.
not correct. He was a.
What, the guy that he killed with the book?
Yes. He was
That
in.
guy's Indian? I thought he was Russian.
No, I think no. I think he's. Yeah, he thinks he's more Russian. He's. No, he's not a wrestler whatsoever, dude. Too. I think. If I'm not correct,
Oh, wait,
he's in a bunch.
Captain
He's in a
Nat?
bunch. That's in a different movie. He hasn't been in like Goldfish commercials very recently right now.
The ultimate crossover.
I forgot his name. Yeah, I don't know. I forgot his name, but he's a basketball player, if I'm not correct.
The point being, he was great. And you, Trevor, did you like this movie?
Well, yeah, I thought it was like the better one of the better ones.
Okay.
Like, it was really just non-stop action.
It really is. Yeah, that's a good way to describe it.
Which is why it's probably good. I mean, let's go. Did it start the trend where his like only line is "yeah," or was that the second movie? I forgot.
I think it was this one.
It was the third where he started speaking less. Because like the fourth
Probably.
movie, which yeah. Number 2, John Wick 4. I think the dude literally spoke like 50 words in the whole film, and I was perfectly fine with it. So
To have
yeah.
a long reflection about how he hates certain people.
So this is a hot take. John Wick 3 has incredible action. And I agree with you guys. It definitely has some of the best action in the series. But I think that same thing can also be said for John Wick 4. I think that the action scenes we get from this film are genuinely spectacular. Especially the card scene and the fight after that. That was just awesome. And then you have some amazing side characters like Kane, Mr. Nobody, the owner of the Osaka Continental. And you also have, Winston still doing his thing, but you also kind of have something more interesting for Winston than you do in past films here. And, it's kind of dealing with this like regret of how, his friend, like the owner of the New York Continental, died, and he kind of had this like, deep down feeling of, man, it should have been me because this was a nice dude, and I've kind of been a shitty person to a lot of people. Huh.
The movie came out, and then the actual guy for him died like 2 days later or something.
Wait,
Or no,
really?
he died like right before the movie came out.
What?
Well, they did have that
Wow.
funeral scene for him. This is a little pay of respect.
Danny, are you surprised? Because I thought he did die. Did you not know that or something?
I did not know.
It was a big news to hear him die.
Shit, I guess I'm a fucking hermit crab then. I didn't hear that shit.
Jeez,
Jesus Christ. That's insane.
it's very surprising.
Well, hey, rest in peace. Real talk, rest in peace. But shit. Back to the review. Yeah, I just really loved a lot of things about this film, and I will say this: there hasn't really been a lot of films this year that I've really loved. The only two that I really loved this year so far has been Creed 3 and John Wick 4.
I still haven't even seen Creed.
It's pretty good, man.
That's fair. Yeah.
Not even a Mario movie.
I did like the Mario movie a lot, but it wasn't like something that I like passionately loved.
What are you talking about? It's Chris Pratt.
Yeah, dude's Mario.
I thought Jack Black was more of that show
It's
stealer,
me,
honestly.
Mario. I still haven't seen the movie either.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty good too. But yeah, from like the camera work and some of the acting, I think this is probably the number one movie of the year so far in those aspects. It really shines in a lot of elements. The only big negative of this movie, I could say, is that it is, when you look at the run times of the other John Wick films, the first film is like a bit over an hour and a half. The second and third film are a bit around 2 hours. And then you have this one almost at 3 hours. And when you think about it, it's like, did this one really need to be like almost an entire hour longer than all the other films? I mean, the film still definitely worked, and it was still a great film. But there will definitely be those times in the film where it's like, all right, yeah, I kind of feel the runtime now. And, you know, that's really the only major issue I can say that I really had. The rest are just nitpicks I'm not really going to go over because I feel like that would just waste a lot of time. But yeah, those are the main positives I could say about John Wick 4. I think it's an 8.5 out of 10. I think it's a genuinely great film, and I could sit back, watch it again, and have no problem watching it again.
Yeah, I probably say the exact same thing too. I really loved the movie. Kane probably was my favorite. Then Mr. Nobody, but Kane looks so much more. Like he was just so interesting, being a blind guy and fighting that. It was so awesome, and I really loved the actor in general. So for me, it was very cool to watch. And the thing to me was, I think the fight scene with him and the guy from the Osaka Continental was really great too. So I really loved that Kane and Mr. Nobody was very interesting. But I think everything was it was just perfect. There was one funny part that me and my dad and a few of my other neighbors were, because we've watched it, saying like that the Mexican guy, the bald Mexican guy, who's the right hand man of the big boss of this whole thing, like died 4 times but still kept on going. He got hit. He got like bitten by a dog at the car scene. He fell from like the third floor to the stairs and just got back up, and like it was pretty funny to me. It was like, but I think it was not. It was just more funny to think about it. But I think probably my favorite thing was that scene in like an abandoned place where like John Wick was shooting dragon breath shotgun shells. You don't see that in a lot of movies, and it's really interesting to see that to me. It was pretty cool to see Mr. Nobody, which interesting to me is that Mr. Nobody might become the new John Wick in the next movies because of how good he did. So to me, that's what's going to happen. And I think definitely John Wick 4 made this probably one of the best movies of the year in the action genres, and I think it was very fun. So I gave it the 8.5 for myself. So Chris.
I also like the main villain too. I don't know his name, but like that Russian little bastard who got like the embassy blown up from the beginning, or the Continental, I mean, blown up. He was someone you just really hate against, and then there was that cool shot. It kind of reminded me of Hotline Miami a little bit.
Bill Skarsgård.
Yeah, and then that one shootout that Wick had with Mr. Nobody with the Hotline Miami inspired esque thing. I don't know if that was intentional or not. But I'm kind of with Daniel too, because some of these gunfights, when I was watching this in the movie theater, I was like, dude, this is like ridiculous. Like just stop fighting. This is an AEW pay per view. Just let me breathe, please. But outside of that,
Yeah,
it
except
was
it's actually
really
good.
Don't you fucking start with me, Trevor. I will murder you. Point being, I feel like it's still like the same thing like 3, but they add more obviously with the lore and more of like returning characters and whatnot. But it's still pretty good. I liked it.
Another thing I will say is I loved the moment where John Wick saved that one dog,
Oh yeah, for Mr. Nobody.
and yeah,
Mr.
it
Nobody's
kind of
dog.
was like it was kind of like a beautiful redemption moment from how he couldn't save Daisy from the first film, and I know that might be looking into it a bit too much, but that's just kind of what I got out of it.
Yeah, but I probably think he's more like trying to say to that Mr. Nobody, saying, "Hey, I'm a good guy. Maybe you should work with me a little bit more than trying to kill me because I just saved your dog." It's probably another thing he's probably thinking about.
Yeah, yeah, I get where you're coming from.
It's always been about the dog.
Man.
Yeah, in every movie.
So, yeah, I think it's the second best film of the bunch, in my opinion, and in the combined score opinion as well.
And
I
anything
don't
you
know
like
why
to
you
add?
guys think the first one's the best one.
It's the
It's
most
either four or
emotional,
three.
We're
man.
about to get to that.
No, it's not. This one's the most emotional.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
You know
No,
what?
it's
Let's
not.
have that debate right.
Yes,
Let's
it
have-
is.
You know what? Hold on. Let's actually have an intelligent conversation here. Trevor,
No.
why do you think the fourth is more emotional?
Bro, it literally has him accept his fucking death because he realizes that the only way to truly be free and then be able to be with his wife and everything is to die. And then he's completely fine with that. And then he sits down and looks at the sunset. He's free. He's won everything.
You know, that was kind of something I
And
actually
then
mentioned.
he had Winston. He said, "The only thing I want you to put on my gravestone is loving husband."
That's true.
No, yeah, like I actually was kind of mentioning that point to Berman and Chris because they were both kind of trying to. Well, not both of them. Chris, actually, just Chris was trying to write this movie off as like kind of being the same as John Wick 3, and I was like kind of using that actually as my example to why it's not the same. So interesting how you pointed that out. And Chris, what's your reason for the first being more emotional?
It's just the first had a lot more words. I'm like, sure, you like obviously John Wick's learning to accept his death, but that's literally not until like almost like 2 hours into the film where he actually sit down
Well,
with
the
the
whole
character.
movie's about it.
Well, I know, but just essentially like towards the end, that's when we really get into the depths of it. But whereas like in John Wick 1, we get that almost immediately, and it's more of a character work of how like John Wick started, and it's just finally got his shit together for everything just to go completely wrong, which starts like this kind of tragic hero thing from the beginning. So I think John Wick 1 is a little more powerful than 4.
I will say this as someone who lost my childhood dog recently, unfortunately. Part of me related more to 1, so I will admit I do have that bit of a bias towards the first one. My dog was not murdered by a gang. Don't worry, people. But
He's just saying that because he doesn't want to get arrested for killing those Russians.
But the thing that happened was, it just felt like a really beautiful way of avenging Daisy before moving on to gain a new symbol of hope in another dog. And it's kind of something my family personally went through recently. So that the whole message of that connected to me more than anything I can personally say. So yeah, number 1, the first and original John Wick. Yes, to its core, this is kind of just a revenge story, but it's the way it was executed. And I mentioned the side characters in the fourth were incredible. They were awesome. And while the characters in the first film aren't on that level, what I can say is that while these characters in the first film are more simplistic, they do enough. Like the guy that hurt Daisy, you want to see that dude get killed. The dude that killed Marcus, you want to see that dude get killed.
You mean that little shit Theon Greyjoy?
Yeah. So the movie does a brilliant job within its execution. Like, sure, on paper, the plot is incredibly simple. But, again, Keanu Reeves just put so much heart and soul into this performance. It really, got me to understand the level of pain he was truly feeling through, losing his dog, through killing other people. Those moments were there from start to finish, and the action clearly paved the way for what would be an entire franchise here. And yeah, sure, this movie's almost 10 years old, but the action scenes still hold up to this day. Maybe not as impressive or balls to the walls like 3 or 4, but the action is definitely great. And when you have that kind of story and William Dafoe, the only movie out of the four that has William Dafoe, that's a little bit of a bonus point. So I guess those are my main reasons for liking John Wick 1 the most, and that's why it has the biggest combined score out of the bunch.
Yeah,
Yeah, William
I'd
Dafoe
probably say
generally looks like a goblin, though.
yeah, a little bit, but I
You always
think
that.
yeah, I think John Wick definitely for me is number one, and I because of how it was really emotional because I don't like seeing dogs getting hurt whatsoever in any movie. So I get triggered when I see that. So I get pissed off, and I want to see the person who killed the dog die. And it was very good redemption to see that. And I think the club scene was very fun to see, and I think there's so many great scenes in the movie that that you don't see in any other movie except John Wick one in that year. So it was very awesome to see, and we got a nice cameo from Nash from freaking Kevin Nash as a bouncer. It
Oh,
was
I
kind of funny.
forgot about that.
Yeah, he was like a Russian. He was a Russian bouncer. So it was very funny to see a wrestler right there. But I think it was probably one of the most impactful movies, and 100% led to pretty much a new blockbuster franchise that is John Wick. And I think it can go for a long time if they get the right characters and stuff. And for this one, they did a great job. So for me, definitely 9.5.
I mean, they got Ana de Armas for the ballerina spinoff,
Did they?
and then Daryl from The Walking Dead is going to be in it as well.
Carl? Are they gonna have Carl?
No, no one wants that motherfucker no more.
Oh. But yeah, I already gave my reasoning for the argument with Treble. So you could take it this one, mate.
Well, I mean, pretty good movie. The funniest scene is probably when his dad just starts beating the shit out of him. And a Theon Greyjoy, his fucking Russian mobster dad, just starts beating the fuck out of that kid because he deserves it.
Oh yeah, that was great. And then the one scene I also love, can you stop playing that fucking video game? And then that dude just gets snipes in the head. Well, he's never gonna play that video game.
Nah, you can see how like fucking stressed that guy was too.
Yeah, dude, it was so funny. It was so
No,
funny.
and then when the dad calls the fucking mechanic and he's like, "Why did you slap my son?" He's like, "Well, he stole John Wick's car and then killed his dog." And then he just goes, "Oh," and then hangs up.
Yeah, then I think he proceeded to do basically the same thing to his own son.
He knew he fucked with Baba Yaga.
Yeah, so yeah, I think the movie is
The
fantastic.
boogeyman? No, he's the one you said to kill. He's the fucking boogeyman.
Yeah,
Great
it
moment.
paved the way for the franchise. I personally have seen this film multiple times. It's just a fantastic film. It's not the best film of all time, but it's a pretty damn good film. So that's really, well, I'll leave it at. Overall, we can say that this is a very good and strong franchise, and we're excited for the future series, the Continental series. God damn it! And John Wick
Man
5.
almost had flashbacks to that moment where he called Kenny Omega.
Oh.
I see. Well, yeah, man. Thank you all so much for watching. I've been Daniel.
I've been Berman
Chris.
and Trevor.
Say bye, Trevor. Say bye.
No.
Well, take it easy, folks.